Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So what I'm going to do today, I'll briefly touch about the reporting aspect in Salesforce, right? So, as a part of this certification, you do need to know a bit around Salesforce reporting, though it's not very tricky, right? The Salesforce have, simple reporting. You can make a report in the form of a table, a simple one, or you align. Uh, then you have a summary, right? Group by field, or if you wanted to align group by column or and row, that is the matrix one, right? So now, why do we need a report, right? So let's say, your stakeholder comes to you and say, "Hey, can you show me an information about, say, a customer arranged as sorry the contact arranged as per the count." For instance, account might have, say account, let's take an account like Wilson Breweries, right? Wilson Breweries can have 10 contacts, right? And similarly, Peterson Breweries distilleries might have, six contacts, for instance, right? So if you as a stakeholder wants to know that, they obviously don't want it to go and query using Apex or whatnot, right? They obviously want it in the form of a dashboard or a good looking report, right? Now, how to do that? So for that, we have reports. Now, most of the reports are pretty easy to build. You don't really have to do much unless you have to fiddle with, the complicated formulas and other stuff. You can do a lot of cool stuff with the report. You can also add colors to it. But I just wanted to show you a very simple one, right? Just to give you an idea, because for this certification, you don't really need to know an in-depth analysis of reports. So this certification is just about user experience, right? So how do you build a good user experience? So the report plays an important role, right? So now the first thing first, right? Obviously, you need to have an org to play around with it. If you don't, you just need to go and register one, right? I hope you know how to register for a Salesforce org. It's developer.salesforce.com. Then let me type it for developer.salesforce. I think .com. Um, so somewhere I haven't registered for an org for like years, man. Yeah, uh, sales for developer edition. You go here, right, and then register for it, and then you're good to go, right? So like I said, you go here, developer.salesforce.com, browse trials here, and then Salesforce developer, and this never expires, right? That's a good thing. You can have it for life. And I really like developer org because you can do a lot of stuff, right? Unlike the service now, right, where they don't give you for a very long period of time. I might be wrong because it was a bit different back in the days, but I haven't touched the service now for ages. But anyways, so what I'm trying to say is that the developer org, you can have it for life. It, like I said, never expires. You can play with it, you can thrash it, you can do whatever you want, right? So obviously, if you wanted to do hands-on with Salesforce, I obviously recommend you to have your own org. Yeah. Okay. So once you do that, once you register, it will take you to something like this. Then what you do, you go to this tic-tac-toe icon, right? And you go to report, right? It's nice and simple. Now, and you can create new report. You can also organize your report in a folder. Like sometimes if you wanted to organize, your own folder, you can do that. That's why you have an option called new folder. But here we just after creating a report. So I'm after accounts and contact, right? That's the report I've been talking about. So I'll just search for accounts and contacts. You can also do activities with accounts, or you can also create your reporting type. This comes from the reporting type. You can go to the setup and create it. So that's one way. But like I said, you don't really need to know too much about this stuff, but because it's not an in-depth technical certification, it is. They will ask you, questions around Salesforce because obviously this certification is associated with the Salesforce. But that being said, they won't get you into very detail like admin cert or app builder cert. So you choose the contact and accounts, right? And you say start report, and you see a lot of fields here. You can say show all accounts. If I wanted to do that, you can do that. Um, let's say I don't want this fields here. I want to say um, I don't want it to fields. See a lot of fields. You see, you can remove it if you want. You can say mailing street. Let's say I don't want any of the street stuff, right? Okay. I don't want phone number. I don't want any of this stuff. Uh, title, yeah. You can keep this, right? And what do we have with account? Just one by account ID. Yeah, you can add account ID, and you can move the account ID at the end. If you want, you can drag and drop here, right? And I can do all time, right? So you get, obviously, I know that the account ID is not really, um, it doesn't look very cool, right? If you sort by account ID, but I can remove it in a second. But just wanted to show you how it looked like. So as you can see, it's very easy to build a report. What I've done, right? You can control your columns, right? Sorry, the fields which you want to display in your report using here. And you can also group by. Right now, this is just a simple report. It's not ordered by anything, right? It's just a blob of data in the form of a table. Say, hey, it's not really useful, right? You can't even add a chart because what if your stakeholders say, I want it in the form of a chart. You can't do that in the table, right? So what I'll do, right? So obviously I want this to be arranged by uh, according to the accounts, right? That's the requirement, right? I wanted to find out the contacts associated with the specific account, right? So how do you do that? So if you go here, right, and you can say group row by this field, right? So there you go. And so you have um, so I can remove this account ID. So you have say Edge Communication contains two Gonzalez, Rose Gonzalez, Sean Forbes, right? And then you have for United Oil you have this many people. So yeah, you can do that, and also you can use the chart. But like I said, in this report, it's not making any sense. Account ID. So what I'll do, I can remove the account ID, and so account ID is gone. And I obviously want the title to be here first, so I can do that. And email I can do, and obviously I don't want account owner, so I can remove the account owner. So when you build a report, right, it just gives you an opportunity to tidy it up based on the requirement. So I'm just showing you a very simple one, and now I will save it, and I will say, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. This board, it gives you a name by default, but if you want, you can change it. But I'm just sticking to default. And also, like I said, I want to add chart to it, right? So I'll add chat. So add chart. So you can add different kind of charts you want. You can go to this here, um, and you can also change the y-axis or x-axis. What is it about? Uh, Sorry, not change. I mean, it shows you what it is here, and you can also show values. Sorry, not this one. Yeah, it shows you the values here if you wanted to know how many record. You can also do donut ship, which is not very common though, because you can really see that, but it's not really useful, in my opinion. So, and this one is more useful to me as far as this is concerned, and I can also change it and show reference line if you want. You can also do that, and so, but I don't really want to do that, so I'll just keep it here. Um, So you can do gray palette, color save palette. You can do a lot of things, right? But I'll just keep it simple. Right. So I decided to go with this chart, right? And then I save it. Okay. So I've created a report, but obviously I want this to be represented in a dashboard, right? Because this is useless to me as such. So how do I do? So I go to the dashboard, right? And I'll create a new dashboard. I'll say, it's taking some time. I'll say account, contact, dashboard, right? And you can save it in a private folder, or if you want, you can save it in a different folder, right? Okay, so you'll get something this, right? Um, and I have the component here, and which one you want? This one, right? This is the one we created, and yeah, you can use the chart setting from the report. I mean, you can pretty much change it if you want it. So I'll just keep it the same. You see, you got this one, something this. This is the report I've created, and you can see that, right? We got, this. Or if I wanted to change it, I can say, hey, I'll give me this one if this is what you're after. Or you can do this one, the original one, which you wanted it. You can do a lot of stuff here, right? Let's say if I wanted to put this one, you can see this one, right? Which is no use to me either way. Um, so this is not really great because from a stakeholder perspective, that information is pretty useless. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with this information, and I'll save it, and you can see that. All right. So if a CEO looks at the report, right, and I'll say done. If CEO looks at the report and say, oh, okay, that looks right. So this one, the first, the Textiles Corp of America, got one contact, and obviously, so this is an account. You got two contacts. So if you click here, it takes you here. It gives you information on two contacts, which is pretty cool, right? So yeah, this is a kind of a view which I wanted to, if you and you can also, uh, you know, download it in the form of an image if you want it. If you wanted to share this, right? You can do a lot of things, and you can also subscribe to it if you like, and and yeah, if the information changes it, you will get the updated view, refreshes and subscribe, you will get the result, and you can also save as and kind of stuff you can do. So yeah, I mean, this information is useful because most of the time, right, the stakeholders won't be interested into the details, nitty gritty stuff. They want everything in the form of a dashboard. So that's one of the responsibility of who are building it. Needs to take care of. Mostly Salesforce admin will do this, right? Sometimes, the Salesforce admin role is a bit interesting, and the reason why I'm saying it's interesting, in some companies, right, especially the smaller houses, they expect you to do admin stuff, they expect you to do development stuff, they expect you to do the architecture stuff. I remember when I used to work for a small firm, and I used to do some admin stuff, I used to do development stuff, I used to do architecture stuff. So it was a mix and match, and I really enjoyed that role, to be honest, because then I could get into functional requirement workshop, I could get into technical requirement workshop, I could build stuff, I can demo the stuff to the customer, I can get involved into architecture working group. So those kind of things, right? And your day has never been the same, right? So because you get to do a lot of things. Um, so I really enjoyed that role when I was working in a small firm. Now I'm more specifically focused on more complex stuff, building complex functionality, getting into more complex architecture rather than building dashboards and report. I haven't built reports and dashboard uh, in like almost 4 years now. I haven't touched it, to be honest. The only yeah, because I never have to do it. There's functional guys who often takes care of it, and usually report development is considered one of the easiest part. But that being said, I love doing it. It's just that I never got an opportunity anymore because you know my boss thinks it's just a waste of my time getting into this kind of stuff. The functional guys should be doing it. Yeah, here's a point, because then if I be doing this, then who's gonna end up? Then someone has to do my job, right? And obviously, functional guys normally won't do it because tech architecture is very different stuff. So that being said, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this one, because from this certification perspective, right, you don't really have to know much about the nitty gritty stuff. You just need to know that there's a functionality exists, the kinds of reports what we have, and how do you configure it. And there is something called reporting type. So I did mention about the reporting type, right? So the way you can do that. So if you wanted to create your own type, you can do that, because you do get some of the types, built in. Sometimes someone, maybe another admin would have built it. Let's say if that didn't meet your requirement, you wanted to build your own, you can do that. So you go to this gecko icon, setup, and you can say report. And I haven't. All right, this is reporting types, and like I said, I haven't come to this place for almost like 4 years now. Um, and yeah, and you can continue it, and you can build the type you want. So you can create a new custom type, and you can choose the primary object. Let's say accounts, and you can say accounts, right? And description. Obviously, it's good to have a description, right? Um, I know this is not really great. You can say link it to forecast. You can do that. It's going to take some time. Yeah, and you can also link it to another object if you want. Let's say what do you want it to do? Let's say I want to link it to code. You can also link it to another one. So you can do this different thing, right? Code terms. You can save it, right? So now we have a report type, which is, obviously, of these types, right? Accounts, codes, code terms. So yeah, you can do something similar, right? If you think your reporting type, which is there already in the system, is not going to meet your requirement, you might have to build one for yourself, which is pretty straightforward as I've shown you, right? So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this episode. Hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Adios.